Joining us in the studio to discuss the issues of the dispute in the NFF and the threat of a ban by FIFA is a lawyer. Well, a retired footballer, I'll call him as well, and member of the Lagos All-Stars, a team of former internationals and professional footballers. Glad to have you on TVC News Breakfast, Julius Ayola.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Tell me, how can an NGO limited by guarantee under the equivalent of the Corporate Affairs Commission here in Switzerland threaten a sovereign country like Nigeria with a ban?
Well, let me first tell you that your narrative may not fit into what we are going to be discussing, in the sense that NFF should not be seen as an NGO. And then, the mere fact that it is not registered under the laws of Nigeria does not mean that it's an NGO. What we are discussing when we were talking about Nigerian football this time around is international law. You know, NFF is an affiliate of FIFA. And having surrendered their membership to FIFA, it simply means that all the laws guiding football, as set up by FIFA, must be binding on Nigeria. So any attempt, in my humble view, for Nigeria to act contrary to the directive of FIFA will leave us nowhere than to be banned. And that will be disaster for Nigerian football. If Nigeria is banned now, because I understand there's going to be a qualifier in about a month from now, it means Nigeria will not be playing that qualifier. What
exactly has Nigeria done wrong in this matter to be threatened by FIFA? What exactly has Nigeria... If you say the NFF is an affiliate, if you say the NFF is an affiliate of FIFA, does that mean that Nigeria is an affiliate of FIFA?
International law does not operate that way. The moment any of your agencies or establishments becomes a member of an international body, that establishment is no longer, so to speak, liable to the municipal law. That is to say, NFF, being a member of FIFA, is subject to the laws of FIFA and not to the laws of Nigeria. Nigeria has a choice to say we don't want to be a member of FIFA. It's a choice. But having given your consent, in international law we call it consensual, having given your consent to be a member of FIFA, you cannot now begin to choose which of the laws of FIFA you will comply with. I'm not talking about the propriety of the ban. I'm not talking about the legitimacy of the elections that were held in Nigeria. I am talking about the concrete directive from the overall body to which NFF is a member. That directive is that the Amaju Pinnick-led, NFF board should be allowed to run football in Nigeria. Whether that statement legitimate, whether that statement that Amaju is legitimate or not, is a secondary issue. The principal issue now is that there is a directive. Which directive is that Amaju is in charge of Nigerian football? The aggrieved parties, however, have a window. There are a lot of windows under FIFA statute for them to approach FIFA or to even take FIFA itself to CAS to say, look, your use of the word legitimate carries some sense of bias because the elections that produce these personalities are not proper elections. I understand that a number of the guidelines were flawed. So if Amaju violated or the election that brought him into office was not done based on the guidelines that have been set either to the election, it does not mean that there and then the aggrieved parties can do self-help.
Now, how can a man who contested an election or who challenges Amaju's election now challenge this matter the way you have put it when he's under a ban himself? So how can he seek redress?
That's the position. As far as we're concerned, or as far as I know, let me use the word as far as I know, Chris Giwa is under a worldwide ban. Somebody who is banned.
The accusation is that it was politically motivated.
Whether the accusation was motivated politically or not is not the issue. The issue is that as we speak now, Giwa is a man with iniquity in the world of football. If he feels that the worldwide ban on him was not appropriate, he has the opportunity, he has the window available to him to ventilate his grievances. What he's doing now is self-help, in my humble view. You are banned from discussing or touching anything that concerns football. That ban has not been lifted. And besides, these cases in court, I understand it's not even a party to any of the cases. So how would you want to reap the benefit of a suit that you have never been a party to? That would be abuse of court process in my view.
But normally, should FIFA be involved in the internal affairs, in the rancor of a member association, when it is not a third-party interference, when it is a member of the Congress contesting against another member of the Congress?
The use of the expression third party under the statute of FIFA does not extend to FIFA. Third party in this sense would refer to government or any other establishment that is not under FIFA. FIFA is not a third party to any football anywhere in the world. In fact, FIFA is the principal party without prejudice to the member associations to regulate themselves in a manner that runs, in tandem with the regulations that is provided for under the statute of FIFA.
Under the Nigerian law,
yes.
The NFF
yes.
is recognized by law as yes. the NFA, and government is a partner, is a member of the NFF, investing $20 million every year.
Yes.
How can that become interference? Why is it not interference when the government invests such money? During the World Cup qualifiers, the government pays such money. The NFF did not have the money. Why is that not interference? Why is this now an interference?
You see, we have to explain properly what's interference. Interference is institutional interference in the sense that government is an institution. If you give out funds for smooth running of the NFF, it does not mean you are interfering. In fact, Nigeria has an obligation to ensure NFF is properly run. But you will delve into institutional interference the moment you begin to determine or attempt to determine who is supposed to be in NFF.
When you pay money, won't you?
Football issues are not based on who pays the piper, calls the tune. There is a law that regulates football activities. Nigeria, as a country, through NFF, has submitted herself to these laws. Having submitted yourself to these laws, you cannot hide under your municipal law to avoid your international obligations.
Okay, right.
Nigeria has an obligation. I want us to get it right.
All right.
Nigeria has an obligation under international law. By this we mean the laws of FIFA. Having agreed to be a member of FIFA, Nigeria cannot be allowed to choose which laws or which regulation or which directive of FIFA is going to comply with. If you don't want to comply with an international obligation, you will not be allowed to say we are an independent nation.
But why did the Amaju Pinnick Board subject itself to the same law, the same municipal laws that we are talking about interference now? Because the Amaju Pinnick Board appealed the Jos High Court ruling. They went to the appeals court and they got the judgment in their favor. So if they know that you cannot take football matters to the municipal law, couldn't they have simply ignored the law and say, okay, you can't take football matters to court? But they subjected themselves to the same law.
Well, I wouldn't know.
And the ruling went against them in the Supreme Court.
I wouldn't know the nature of their, submission to the court in Nigeria. And of course, in Nigeria, you are allowed to submit yourself based on condition. That is to say, you are appearing a case on a condition that you have a reservation about the court jurisdiction. The Amaju filed 3 motions to vacate the order of the Jos High Court does not necessarily mean that Amaju has submitted issue of football to a municipal law. Of course, you cannot be outside the court and be saying the court does not have jurisdiction. You have to come properly before the court and table your case. And for me, that order ordinarily is not an order that any court should give. That order attempts to determine the substantive issues. Why would an ex parte order be given, satisfying all the substantive reliefs? So if it's an ex parte order and the case will end up at trial, for example, so what order will you be giving at trial if you have already granted all the reliefs in the ex parte application, which reliefs are the same with the reliefs in the substantive application? So for me, the order should not have been given. And besides, ex parte order are not order that are in perpetuity. They are time bound.
So if this ban comes, At some point in 2010, when we had this crisis, we've always had this crisis every World Cup, yeah? 2010 it was Sani Lulu and co. 2014 it was Aminu Megeri. 2016 it was Galadima. Now 2014 it is Amaju Pinnick. Back then, President Jonathan had said, why can't we just take a break from football? Can Nigeria afford a break from football, whether by ban or by a deliberate attempt so that the NFF could put its house in order? What would be the implication of a ban by 12 noon today?
Look, the implication of the ban may not be seen in terms of the economic implication. But, you know, there are social implications to it. 2, I mean 3, it's not decent for a nation like Nigeria. We are the giant of Africa. And we should be seen to be acting in an exemplary manner. It will be an insult on Nigeria, and I mean on our fabric as a nation, that we are violating elementary international law. What would Nigeria lose by complying with the directive of FIFA? I'm not saying Amaju should be there. What I'm saying is that, as it stands, there's a directive that the Amaju-led, NFF should be allowed to run, the Nigerian football. If you feel that that directive ought not to have been made, instead of you holding the football issue by the jugular, you have an opportunity, even under the laws of FIFA, to ventilate whatever grievances you have. Because what they'll be doing, they'll be killing some economy too. If Nigeria is banned, it's going to affect our sport journalism, whether you like it or not. I mean, is it next year, in a year's time or so, we'll be playing the Nations Cup. If Nigeria does not qualify, who's going to watch the Nations Cup? Nigeria is the market in Nations Cup. And of course, FIFA would want to make a big statement with Nigeria, because if Nigeria can be thrown into line, it means every other nation can be thrown into line. As far as I'm concerned, all we need to do is to do everything possible to avoid this ban. Thereafter, we can address whatever issues that we have. I'm not of the view that it will give us the opportunity to address whatever frayed nerves that we have in our football. No. You don't cut off your head because you have a headache. What is this said for us is to...
Is there also a possibility that FIFA, in last year or 2 years ago, thereabout, the Nigeria Olympic Committee had set up a committee to look into the setting up of a court of arbitration for sports in Nigeria, headed by Justice Adoki Amesimaka. And they came up with what part of the recommendation is that even FIFA does not want an act of parliament to create a football federation, but that the football federation, as a limited guaranteed company, as you guys put it in law, should be incorporated under the Company and Allied Matters Act. So that that NFF is just like Rotary Club Nigeria, or it's just like Lions Club Nigeria. It should be registered under the Corporate and Allied Matters Act. And not created by an act of parliament.
I disagree with you to some extent. If Nigeria wants to push that narrative, that is to say, you want a system where our NFF will be subject to the laws of Nigeria in terms of their corporate personality, that is to say, you want them to be registered under the Corporate Affairs Commission, they can push that particular narrative at the Congress of FIFA. Because if you see what is going on in Ghana now is that Ghana too may be facing the same ban if they continue with the proceeding to wind up the Ghana FA. It's not right. If you feel that your associations deserve to be labeled with juristic personalities, you have to push that at the FIFA Congress. If you can't push that at the FIFA Congress, you cannot on your own create a different legal regime for yourself in Nigeria. It's not right.
Thank you very much, Barrister Julius Ayola, for coming on the TVC Breakfast Show this morning to discuss the issues of the pending or impending FIFA ban on Nigeria. We hope it does not happen, but we also hope that Nigeria puts the house in order as far as football is concerned. That's all of sports this morning. Back to Mike and Azizat.